I have a strong aspiration for daily consistent meditation practice in my life. I want to go deep. I want to spend considerable amounts of time each day in practice. Ideally, I want to begin my day with a significant amount of time in practice and formal practice. Ideally, I want to end my day as well with some significant time spent in formal practice. I want to experience the liberating insights that our practices have to offer. I want to be able to see more clearly and be freed from the fetters of greed, hatred, and delusion, and all else that the lack of true seeing keeps me constricted and entrapped in. Other people may long for vacations and spend time planning other fun activities. I like having fun, but I have spent considerable time fantasizing about going away on an extended meditation retreat, being able to go away for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You can say that I'm a bit of a meditation nerd. I used to think about this for myself, that like I have the soul of a monastic. You know, that although I'm married and I'm raising a family and I have a career and I'm busy with everything in life that we're all busy with, my inner makeup is essentially oriented towards solitude. And I worked over the years really hard to support this perspective, to support this inclination, you know, this authentic core of my being. You know, I would seek teachers and attend retreats, all in the goal of supporting this monastic inclination. But over time, this perspective evolved. I still look forward and I still feel like I need retreats. And maybe one day in the future, if it's meant to be and it can work out, I'll be able to attend extended, lengthier retreats. Maybe not. Either way, I'm more okay with it than I'd ever really been. Whenever I read a book that I've learned from or in some way gained from, I consider who I can share it with. And I recently read a book that I knew I'd want to share about today with you. It's about the story of the life and the teachings of Dipa Ma, a woman who went through great personal hardship and personal suffering in her life, and ultimately transformed herself into a living, breathing embodiment of what it means to be present. Perhaps about as humanly free of greed, hatred, and delusion as a human being can be. She embodied presence, what anatta, or non-self, really means. And with a seeming infinite capacity for metta toward all beings, under all circumstances. Those who knew her and learned from her invariably felt transformed by her gaze, her caring touch, and her sense of presence. The book I'm referring to was written by Amy Schmidt, and the book is entitled Dipa Ma, The Life and Legacy of a Buddhist Master. It's worth the read if you haven't yet done so. And although this was, of course, a word and a concept that I already knew, reading Amy's book about Dipa Ma brought me to a much deeper and personally connected appreciation for this word and what it means. And this is the word householder. We, at least most of us, insofar as I can tell, are not monastics. We are householders. We maintain normal, typical lives with family, jobs, social lives. We are very much in and part of the world. We are not working toward changing our lives, living as monks in an ascetic, worldly removed fashion. Our aspiration is to integrate these practices of sati, samadhi, and brahmaviharas, mindfulness, concentration, and the Four Noble Qualities of the heart into our lives. As we continue to live our lives, continue to go about our days and routines of daily living, we continue to commute and go to work, or commute online and go to work. We work and we earn a living. We give birth and we raise children. We make and we spend time with friends. We have neighbors, community. We have culture that is important to us and that we actively participate in. We may have a religious practice and or faith tradition which sustains us and offers meaning and purpose for our lives. We fight. We make peace. We forgive. We love. We watch Netflix. We recycle. We hear about and think about and read about and discuss and debate world and political events. All of this and so much, much more. And in this very regular life that we are all living, Dipa Ma was proof that in the ordinary householder or layperson or lay people's life, we too can experience liberation. When she would tell her students that they can achieve enlightenment, she absolutely meant it. Here's a passage from Amy's book. Enlightenment was rather matter of fact to Dipa Ma's Indian students. Jack Engler recalls that they practiced within the context of their families and daily life. When Dipa Ma recognized a certain kind of ripeness in them, she would say, arrange your affairs, see if you can get 2 weeks off from the family, and come and stay in this room next to me, and just devote yourself for 10 or 14 days to this practice. That's when enlightenment happened to them. That is all the intensive practice they did. And even then, some of them had to return home during that time to take care of family matters. But Dipa Ma would also often say, if you practice for a result, then it becomes a hindrance. Because even a desire for liberation, true insight, or any of the most noble of human desires, are also desires. They're hindrances to the practice. So we discern between a desire and an aspiration. Of course, there's an aspiration for what this practice can help us transform into, help us experience. The book quotes Joseph Goldstein, sharing this. The experience of enlightenment is about letting go of self. Over the years, Joseph writes, I've seen people who have experienced enlightenment use it to create more self. They attach to the experience and identify with it. This is missing the point, and it can create a lot of suffering. So as we have talked about so many times, life is our practice. Daily living is our practice. The ordinary, everyday, mundane, routine activities that we are consciously or by rote attending to can be practiced. So our current practice is with Metta. Right? We've devoted this year to a focus on the 4 Brahma Viharas, and we've begun with Metta, the bedrock the foundation of the other Brahma Viharas. In the book, Dipa Ma is quoted as saying, there is, from my own experience, she says, there is no difference between mindfulness and loving kindness. Because for her, love and awareness were one. And the book says, think about it. When you're fully loving, aren't you also being mindful? And when you're fully mindful, is that not also the essence of love? So here's a quote from Pema Chodron I wanted to share with you. She says, the Buddhist teachings are fabulous at simply working with what's happening as your own path of awakening, rather than treating your life experiences as some kind of deviation from what is supposed to be happening. The more difficulties you have, in fact, the greater opportunity there is to let them transform you. The difficult things provoke all your irritations and bring your habitual patterns to the surface. And that becomes the moment of truth. You have the choice to launch into the lousy habitual patterns you already have, or to stay with the rawness and discomfort of the situation and let it transform you on the spot. So let's take a few moments and consider the ordinary everyday lives we lead. What would it be like to lie in bed, close our eyes at the end of a day, and evoke metta towards ourselves, for our loved ones, for those we have some sort of a negative reactivity toward, for the world, for those we know and those we don't? What would that be like? What would it be like waking up in the morning and before getting out of bed, taking some moments, just some moments, to consciously direct our mind and attention with a sense of friendliness and care and kindness towards ourselves, towards our loved ones, towards those we know and those we don't? What would it be like if we're driving and we attend to the experience of driving with metta? I don't always feel metta when I'm driving, particularly when certain type of drivers meet me on the road. What would it be like for me to intentionally direct my mind towards thoughts of metta, remembering that the practice of metta is not a feeling, it's a state of mind and a state of heart? What would it be like to take a moment or two randomly in the middle of my workday and just settle my attention with metta? I can go on, but I invite you to go on. Consider moments in your day, today, to randomly practice just some moments. As Pema Chodron said, allow those moments to transform you. I look forward tomorrow to sharing a bit more about Dipa Ma and her teachings. But I think it's enough for now. I thank you for your kind attention.